So the other day we had talked about the Troy Stecher Foundation and the awesome event of practices that were running in Richmond, BC, which involved several NHL players, but this is only one of many events going across North America which involve and feature different NHL guys collaborating together and working together. Today we are talking about a Twitter post made by BioSteel Sports. And yeah, that's the company that makes the drink. You know, it tastes pretty okay. The Gatorade replacement in the NHL, right? And it was a pretty interesting video. It's Connor McDavid and Connor Bedard working out side by side. And you could see that just having two of these players within the same vicinity kind of feels like a pipe dream at this point, because one is just so astronomically good, one of the best players we have ever seen. He is phenomenal, won 50 points last year in the NHL, and the other is the guy who is supposed to live up to that hype and follow in the other's footsteps. And then you had some memes brought up about Connor Bedard and his really good physique. Everybody was comparing his thighs to Martin St. Louis, which is kind of funny, but also kind of weird when you think about it. But with Connor Bedard and Connor McDavid collaborating together at BioSteel Sports Camp, you had yourselves an interview done with Greg Wyszynski from a few days ago, wherein Bedard talks about McDavid. He talks about chasing down McDavid's stats, and I'll leave a link in the description to this article right here, because it has some really interesting quotes from Bedard himself regarding the relationship with McDavid, what McDavid's identity in the NHL means to Bedard, and how this all forms into his own player profile. Let's read onto the article here. It opens up by talking about how the two Connors, McDavid and Bedard, had some shared experiences to discuss when attending the 13th annual BioSteel NHL camp in Halifax this week, hosted by BioSteel Nutrition. Connor has given me lots of good advice, Bedard said of McDavid. Yeah, it's going to be interesting with the names here, because Connor, you get it. There are some things Connor McDavid has told to me about what to expect. It's obviously not easy, it's the best league in the world. It's about just preparing yourself the best you can, and I feel like I've done that this summer. I've worked really hard. And yeah, Connor Bedard has indeed worked really hard. You could see the training videos. He was here in Burnaby, BC, practicing with like Bud Colson and a few other Canucks names at 8 rinks earlier this summer too. So Connor Bedard is making his rounds. Of course, being at the BioSteel Nutrition Camp, that's cool too, especially hearing about his experiences with McDavid. But he says that your dream and lifelong goal is to play in the NHL and be an impact player. That's what I want to do. For me right now, it's about training, going to camp, and earning my spot on the team. But of course, there are some nerves. And when it comes to those nerves, the article brings up how Connor McDavid, when he was initially drafted by Edmonton, said on his draft day that his expectations on himself exceed those of any expectations put upon him by others. Bedard says similar things. I think if you're worried about what other people are saying or what you guys write about me, I'm trying to pursue a dream. There's obviously pressure from the outside. I'm hard on myself, but pressure goes away, in my mind, when you're just doing what you love. I've dreamed of playing in this league for 18 years now, so I wouldn't really think of outside noise too much. And this is also something that I really appreciate about Bedard as a hockey player, just his overall maturity and well-spokenness, you could say, in the media. This guy knows how to answer questions. You could tell he's been on the receiving end of some media training the past few years. That, and he happens to be a pretty smart kid himself, because, I mean, some of these answers are really mature, and you can't take that away from an 18-year-old. Of course, Connor McDavid had similar traits too, although you could debate that his personality is a little bit more boring than Connor Bedard's appears to be. Bedard seems to be having fun every time he does these interviews, so that is also great for the NHL fanbase collectively to watch. Bedard then goes out there and talks about McDavid himself. I think that McDavid is kind of the pinnacle right now. This guy's the best, or one of the best, so how could I get closer to him? And this is where things get kinda nutty, because everybody talks about it. Everybody says, oh yeah, when it comes to generational talents, you've only got so few in the NHL, especially from these Canadian rosters. Lemieux, Gretzky, Lafleur, Lindros, Crosby, McDavid. Bedard should be next, right? And I'm pretty sure for most of y'all who remember when Connor McDavid was drafted initially, the McDavid versus Crosby thing was a pretty big deal, especially around 2017-2018. So how long until we see a Connor versus Connor thing? Wyszynski writes this: before the hockey world runs wild with the McDavid-Bedard hype, Bedard indicated that it's not matching McDavid's legacy he's concerned about, it's about creating one of his own. You never want to be like, oh, I can't do this. I don't really think that mindset is great. But I'm not him. I'm my own person, and I'm my own player. I think that's such a great thing in sport. You're always competing against guys. For me to get to spend some time with him on the ice and just to try to compete with him, he's obviously unbelievable. You can barely talk about his stats because they're so ridiculous. But for me, I'm just trying to be my own player. Be the best I can be. And I absolutely love that attitude right here. Sure, two generational talents side by side working out at BioSteel Sports Camp. It's going to get some conversations going. It's going to get some discussions amongst the fans going. Hey, who's going to get more points in their primes? What are these guys going to be like when they face off head to head? Oilers versus Blackhawks. What's it going to be like when Taylor Hall plays with Bedard? Is he going to be as good as Taylor Hall was when he played with McDavid? How many points is Bedard going to get? Is he going to be able to match Connor McDavid? These are all great questions because they're all so valid. But Connor Bedard's response to that, he's pretty much just saying, hey, everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. And yeah, I totally did not steal that from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, but either way, it's the same idea here. Bedard is wanting to form his own legacy, his own story, his own path, not really follow in the shadows of somebody who is one of the best hockey players of all time. I think it's fair to say McDavid is in that tier now. And Bedard is going to try to form himself his own story. So this is intriguing to see the Connor versus Connor argument really coming to light here. Bedard speaking out about his, not even rivalry with McDavid, but just kind of the idea, you know, two generational guys going head to head. And if we ever get ourselves a story that progresses to the point that it did, let's say 5, 6, 7 years ago with McDavid versus Crosby, then I'm looking super forward to seeing how it all goes down. Because back when Crosby-McDavid was a thing, not to say that Crosby is not great anymore, but he is no longer like the undisputed number one player in the league like he was 10 years ago. Back when McDavid-Crosby was a thing, they played each other like 3 times a year. Edmonton-Pittsburgh was not really the greatest connection here. Now, not saying that Chicago-Edmonton is significantly better, but it's a lot better than the other one. So we'll probably see a bunch of Oilers games with the Blackhawks. It's going to be cool seeing the dual threats. Of course, the guys that have played for both teams, Taylor Hall comes to mind, Andreas Athanasiou comes to mind. It's going to be intriguing to see Corey Perry go out there against the Oilers because obviously that's super fun to watch. But either way, these Edmonton-Chicago games are going to be some of the funnest games to watch on TV. And all I'm hoping for is that we're all able to acknowledge it as it's happening. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the McDavid-Bedard thing? How do you feel about Bedard's comments regarding this entire situation? The link in the description is going to take you to the article wherein we read the quotes from. Also, there's a lot more analysis done in the piece by Greg Wyszynski. He always does a really good job with these pieces. So, thoughts in the comment section below. If you're an Oilers fan or if you're a Blackhawks fan, what are your thoughts about Connor McDavid and Connor Bedard? How well do you think Bedard is going to perform in his first NHL season? Is he going to best out Connor McDavid's point per game number as well as the regular points, although of course McDavid's rookie season was cut short because of Brandon Manning. So who knows? I mean, the points seem to be easily attainable because it wasn't really that high, but still, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about McDavid versus Bedard. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.